We are moving the kitchen. Actually, we're transforming this whole area of the house, including the strange and awkward fireplace room, the living and dining space, and even what used to be the walk-in closet of the master bedroom. We had to make some really tough decisions for this one. I will walk you through 4 big decisions and changes that we've made for this transition. The result so far has been amazing and totally worth it. If you're new here, there's a lot more on the channel already about this house and this project. I invite you to check it out, get caught up, and follow along with us. The whole upper level of our historic manor house is evolving. Every big decision we make is like a domino that creates a bunch of additional questions and decisions that follow from there. So there is a lot of change happening. And as we proceed with the project, we're really working hard to strike the right balance between honoring and preserving and showcasing some of the fantastic historic elements and features that we find along the way, while also building for the future and creating the next chapter of this place. Let's start with this wall. It is the centerpiece, in my opinion, of this whole upstairs level. It's a historic stone wall that was built in the 1700s, originally as an exterior wall of the house. We have uncovered it and are preserving it in the design. And in my last video, I showed you what we've done and what we're planning on this side of the wall. And in this video, I'm gonna show you what's happening on the other side of the wall. On one side of the wall is an archway. It's the first thing you see as you come up the stairs, and it originally opened up into a small and awkward fireplace room. Now, I love that there's a natural fireplace in this house. However, this room drove me crazy. It had a green ceiling with some beams that were actually not original beams, just decorative beams that were added in. It had a, I want to say stained glass wall, but stained glass is too nice of a word. It was like a window wall that was put up as a separation, and the floor was tiled with old tiles from the 70s. We knew something was going to need to change in this area, but first, let's look at the other side of the stone wall, where you find some beautiful double doors. Now, these doors I absolutely love, and they used to open up into a mixed sort of dining room and living room area. It was a very large space. They were connected through this opening with some big wooden beams. This is the space that featured the old 70s drop-down projector screen. And it's also home to the upstairs Kochelofen, the historic oven that was used for heating with these beautiful tiles on it. Now, the oven, this structure, was shared between the living room area and the fireplace room with a wall that was over top of it. So we already had a lot of questions and were thinking about what we were going to do with this space when our designer said, what if we put the kitchen in here? This really got our wheels spinning. I'll speak for myself. At first, I was definitely skeptical, although also intrigued. And the more we thought about it, the more it really made a lot of sense. As we started solidifying the plans, we made 4 key decisions. Decision number 1, the walls. We were already thinking that the window wall separator needed to go. But the bigger question was about the wall with the wooden beam opening. It encompassed the kochelofen, and we weren't sure whether that was sort of built into the wall or what it would look like underneath. Plus, those wooden beam pieces were really lovely. However, it really cut the space in half, and we decided to take it out. We were also thrilled to see that when we removed the wall around the oven, it was intact. Unfortunately, there was a little bit of damage from when the wall was put around it in the first place, but we'll definitely be cleaning it up, and it is going to be such a beautiful centerpiece in this space. So that was tough decision number one. Big decision number two is the ceilings. In the living room space, we had uncovered above the 70s ceiling an old plaster ceiling, likely from the 1800s. It had the ceiling medallion and some decorative molding. It was very cool. However, it was also damaged and really not preservable as it was. And we could see underneath that plaster that there was an even higher original ceiling structure made out of wood. So now here's the other thing to look at though. Underneath it is that same beam structure. The other thing we noticed, so the beams, if you look kind of in between the crack here, big beams run this direction. We've been thinking more and more about keeping at least the big beams going across. And then you can have kind of a consistent feel, show that structural element.
And give some of that wood on the ceiling that Sarah originally really liked. No, seriously.
It's true, it's true. Wood beams and wood paneling from 300 years ago that still looked pretty incredible. So having opened up the ceiling in here and in the fireplace room raised the question of the wood ceiling that was above the dining area. It was also really beautiful, but broke up the space in such a way that we really had no choice but to take it down. That was a tough one. It was one of those dominoes that fell because of some of the rest of the choices. I want to assure you that we have saved as much of the materials as we can from that wooden ceiling, the beams from the big opening, and we are figuring out how to incorporate and use the materials in the future design. When we first uncovered the high wooden ceiling, it looked a little rough. Huge kudos to the worker who pulled out hundreds, maybe even thousands of tiny little nails out of the beams. They were all over the floor. It looked like Christmas tree pine needles or something. The beams and wood panels then had to be sanded and cleaned up quite a bit, but the end result is pretty incredible.
And with the height of the ceiling and everything, it's like the light is coming in. Now you have the windows covered. That's not good.
Yeah.
But it still feels light. Yep.
Yeah.
The high original wood beam ceiling is worth it. It makes this space feel large and ties it all together. So that was big decision number two. Big decision number three is the pantry. One of the suggestions our designer made was to open up the little space that was between the master bedroom and this now kitchen space and turn it into a pantry area. It used to be the walk-in closet of the master bedroom, and it looked like this. Now we've opened it up from this side and actually blocked it off from the master bedroom side so that it will become a walk-in pantry storage area for the kitchen. Before we get to the final big decision, let's take a look at how far we've come. Here are some comparisons between where we started and where we are now. Now, if you're like me, you might be curious about the closet space in the master bedroom. If that's not going to be the walk-in closet anymore, what is the storage solution going to be in the master bedroom? And there's actually quite a bit of change happening in that area of the house as well. And I'm going to walk you through all of that in a different video. This brings us to big decision number 4, which is about the materials and the more detailed design choices that we need to make. This is still very much in process, although we have made a lot of decisions already about appliances, flooring, tiles for the backsplash, color scheme, countertop surface area. These are some concept pictures and collages to give you an idea of the direction that we're kind of heading in. The kitchen will now be laid out primarily on this side of the room. The sink looking out the window where I have a beautiful view. There's a large island that will be done in a darker blue tone to tie in the beautiful tile colors from the historic oven. Next up, we'll be working with the custom cabinet maker to really design the kitchen layout and cabinetry in such a way that strikes that balance between traditional and functional for this space.
Cupboards, and then like a pantry thing. They had like a tall,
Also fridge.
but I think the fridge got moved over here.
Where's oven?
Oh, maybe the fridge got moved here.
There's a lot of space that we want to be able to access, so the question is, how do we not lose
How do we not
this
lose that?
whole
This
house?
actually comes out.
So
Yeah.
we're not going to have to go way back in the corner in order to get
Exactly.
set.
So if the cupboards go out to about here, then you take a meter to be able to walk. And so the island starts here and then goes out. And we have to put a stovetop and then an eating thing, but we have to end by about here to make it comfortable to go around. For as big as this space feels right now, I think once we put all this custom stuff into it, it's gonna eat up a lot of the space.
Yeah.
Hopefully in a good, productive way.
In a good, productive way. Yeah, this room feels real big right now. It's gonna feel smaller.
Yeah. I can't wait to host dinner parties and events in this space. I think it's perfect for entertaining, but I can also see it as a hub for our family, with my son doing his homework at the kitchen island while I cook dinner. So obviously it does take some imagination right now, but I will show you the process as it unfolds in this space and in the rest of the house. So be sure to subscribe and stay tuned to see what happens next on our Manor House project.
And then you can do the gesture. And then if you walk, I don't know if it.
I don't think it does anything.